Paramahansa Paramacharya Bhojastali Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Vaya Chaitanya Bhaktivedanta Goswami Shila Prabhupada Pichel, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Pichel, Antakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Jai, Namacharya Srila Prabhupada Thakur Jai. Sego Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Vasudeva Bhakti Shri Shri Radha Krishna Govinda Sai Radha Dunda Virindovaran Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Kichuradam Ki Jai Navadiptam Ki Jai Vidasami Ki Jai Yunamai Ki Jai Shivani Vilasi Dev Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gora Premananda Hari. All glorious His simple devotees. All glorious His simple devotees. All glorious His simple devotees. All glorious to Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gora Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Okay. Om Gana Tivanandasha Dhananja Shilakaya Tashur Miridam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So there's a lot of people who are at the Rath Yatra right now. Yes. So today, of course, we're having the Rath Yatra. Novi Sad. And actually the first time we've had Rath Yatra in Novi Sad. Novi Sad is a very important city. So the Rath Yatra ceremony signifies the dragging of Lord Jagannath back to Vrindavan. A little brief explanation about Rath Yatra is that when Krishna is in Dwarka with his wives, he's always feeling separation from Vrindavan. In fact, every night while he's sleeping, he talks in his sleep. And what he says in his sleep is not very pleasing to his wives. Because he is mentioning the names of his girlfriends. So any of you ladies who are married, if your husband was chanting the names of his girlfriends at night, it'd be very upsetting. You'd probably wake and shake. So Krishna does that, and it's actually quite upsetting. Can there be less talking over there, please?
Molim vas, možete li malo tamo manje pričati? Pokušavamo da održimo seminar.
So, Krishna does that, and his wives are very upset. Especially Satyabhama.
Posebno Satyabhami, ona je vrlo uznemirena.
So there's a whole story about that in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it actually mentions that one day Krishna just couldn't wake up. He was so much depressed not being in Vrindavan. And to placate or pacify Krishna, they have to bring Krishna to this place called New Vrindavan. And New Vrindavan is not a place in the United States. It's a replica of Vrindavan that was constructed by Vishwakarma, the chief of the demigods. So Krishna goes to this Nava Vrindavan, and he remembers his Vrindavan pastime. And Narada Muni is able to understand by seeing this that the greatest devotees of Lord Krishna are the gopis. So those who participate in Rath Yatra are actually assisting the gopis. And they're assisting the gopis as they pull the ropes of Lord Jagannath's cart in bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. So, and anyone who sees the cart will also become attracted to Vrindavan. Anyone who participates in the festival.
Anyone who participates.
So this is a very auspicious festival, so everyone should go tonight to the Rath Yatra. Beginning at 6 o'clock. What's the hotel name?
Putnik.
Putnik Travel. Sputnik Traveler.
Like Sputnik. The same like Sputnik in Russia.
Sputnik, okay.
Same Sputnik.
Sputnik Traveler, okay, Sputnik Hotel. And then we're going to go along.
Sputnik I onda idemo
Maya Street.
Zmaj Jovina Street.
Maya, that means New Maya Street.
Znači, ulica Nove Maje.
Anyway, it should be a very nice ceremony.
Trebala biti jako lijepa ceremonija.
So now we'll continue with Vraja Mandal Parikrama.
Vraja Mandal Parikrama.
We left off at a place called Pichel, Pahari, which is the famous slide the cowherd boys go on. And the next place we go to is where Krishna Boga. Krishna doesn't eat prasadam. So sometimes devotees say, let us offer prasadam to Krishna. You don't offer prasadam. You offer prasadam to Krishna's devotees. Krishna eats boga. Krishna is a bogi. That's true. A bogi means an enjoyer. And in the 5th chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, I'm a bogi. Did you know that? Krishna says, did anyone know that verse? Bhaktaram Jagatapasam Sarvalokam Maheshram Suradam Sarvabhutanam Tatvam Shanti Richatu. He says, I'm a bogi. So, at this place called Bhojastali, you actually find the imprints of the place of Krishna. This is Krishna's lunch plate, there's bowls and plates. And also around this place, Radha and Krishna would meet. Because this place is halfway between Varsana and Nandagrama. The great devotee named Nayana Bhatta Goswami is Bhojana, not Bhajan. So you can actually see the bowls in the ground when you go there. And Balaram also took his yogurt there. So that's Balaram's yogurt pot. So today is my children's day. Okay, so today we'll be spending time with the children.
Yes, one manager has. The one who's teaching the children.
Okay, so I can borrow the guitar for the children. In the way it's seen, I see. So, alright, so no traditional instruments. So saxophone, guitar.
Saxophone, guitar.
She didn't bring the saxophone. Okay, so this Balaram's yogurt pot and Balaram's footprints. It says Kadam Da Dande. That is Kadam Dande, which is the famous place where a lot of kadamba trees grow. And finally, we're approaching Varsana. And as we're approaching Varsana, we go to Uchakan, which is Lalita Devi's village. And there you find the deities. Krishna. And we go to the next slideshow. This is Varsana to Prema Sarovar. What?
Varsana do Prema Sarovar.
What happens now? Narayan. No, I can remember. Narayan. That reminds me of the John Mills story. That's why he called him Narayan.
That was the idea. That was the idea. To save ourselves.
So at the time of death, Narayan!
Yes.
Save me from the Amadutas.
Yes. We worked for him.
So, this is also Lalita's appearance place.
Također mjesto pojave Lalite.
And there's an interesting imprint, I don't know if you can see it, in a stone, Radha and Krishna and Lalita.
Radha, Krishna I Lalite.
It's just self-manifested in the stone.
Samo manifestirano kamenu. Otisak Radha, Krishna I Lalite.
And they keep that right next to the altar.
To drže odmah pored oltara.
Of course, there's a deity of Lalita, but this is a deity in an ISKCON temple. This is not the deity of Pichel. So here you see the surroundings of Varsana. There's Mandar Temple, Krishna Dasa, War Kutir, that's the peacock Kutir, and the village of Chitradevi. And finally, when you get to the top of the hill, Varsana, that's the Jaipur Mandir. Now, the hill of Varsana is an incarnation of who? Who? Brahma. And Govardhan is who? That's easy. And so, where does Lord Shiva appear? What? Nandagrama. Very good. Okay. So this is the general layout as we approach Varsana. So more Kutir is the famous Kutir where Krishna and Radha dance as peacocks. And you climb the hill, you go to the top of this beautiful little temple. And you see the altar and the very nice pastimes about Krishna and Radha dancing as peacocks. And then as we go up the hill, we come across this path that is actually, it's like a V. It's very hard to go through. It's called Sankari Kol, which is where Krishna smashed the gopis' butter pots as he was attempting to steal yogurt and collect taxes. So you'll find many marks here of the broken pots. Here's some yogurt that's still coming down from the hill.
To this day.
No, that's new yogurt. I was just kidding. Because the gopis go there and they put milk there and they put yogurt on it. But you'll see wherever there's a path in Raj, like you have this Gangati, which is a Govardhan. Gati means path. Wherever there's a narrow path or a hill or an alleyway, you find that Krishna was stationed there to collect taxes. And they had arguments, and Krishna smashed the butter pots. And as I mentioned before, with the Dana Vartana Kund at Govardhan, sometimes the gopis overpowered Krishna. Tied them up and hit them with sticks. And made Krishna bow down and touch over on his feet. So now we're climbing the hill. And we come to this kund called Krishna Kund, where many intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna took place. And right next to there is a temple called the Bhahari temple. And then the gopis would swing Radha and Krishna at this place. There's an interesting story regarding this place, why the deity is called Dan Bihari. Dan means to give like a donation or something. So once upon a time, there was a very poor Brahmin, and he wanted to get his daughter married. So in those days, and even today to a certain extent, they have this dowry system that you actually have to pay money to get your daughter married. So if you don't have any money, you can't get your daughter married. So he really wanted to get his daughter married. And
Stvarno želio da uda
plus, his wife was a nag.
Njegova žena je bila zvocalo.
You know what a nag is?
Negi.
She used to henpeck him. You know what that is?
Yes. Onako stalno krucala i zvocala. Stalno ga je krucala u glavu sa svojim zvocanjem.
Or they say she had a sharp tongue.
Ili što kažu, imala je oštar jezik. There are so many expressions about female. You know so many expressions about good female qualities.
That was from my early days as a sannyasi.
But it's true.
One devotee said that if you listen to any of my early days in class as a sannyasi, it would make Bhakti Vikas Maharaj look like an ultra-liberal. But somehow or other, I become, old age does that to you. Makes you more practical. Yeah, loveless disciples. And when my brahmachari disciples got married, I had to change my preaching. So anyway, this lady sent her husband to beg for money. So he approached Krishna. So he said to Krishna, please give me some money so I get my daughter married. And so Krishna gave him jewelry, gold jewelry that was the same weight as Srimati Radharani. Giant mountain of jewelry. It's all right. So he could get his daughter married. And that's why the name is called Bhojastali. Is it closer to the big deities? Very beautiful deities. Blue Krishna and golden Radharani. Really beautiful deities. And they're taken care of very well. It's a small temple right next to the Jaipur temple. And the Jaipur temple was built around 1900 by the king of Jaipur. And in this temple are Vraja Mandal Parikrama. This is a newer temple. It's only about 100 years old. But the most famous temple is called the Sriji temple. Here are some shots of the Sriji temple. Usually they don't let you take pictures inside. Now if you go there, they'll tell you that Radharani was born there. But actually she was born in Raval. We know that from our Goswamis. And at the end of this perimeter, we'll show you pictures of Raval. Sri means goddess of fortune. Sri Ji is a respectful name for opulent goddess.
Sri Ji, to je izraz poštovanja.
Like Guru Ji.
Sufiks Ji se dodaje kao znak poštovanja. Kao što, na primjer, Baba Ji, Guru Ji. Tako je da je Sri plus Ji, Sri Ji. To je gramatički izraz kako se izražava poštovanje, kao na primjer kod nas gospodin, gospođa, kod njih samo ide na kraju. Imenik je sufiks.
So there is a beautiful path through the forest at the top of the hill, which is Lord Brahma. And this is where they say Radharani appeared, but actually we know she appeared in Raval. But don't say that to the devotees there. You'll have a big argument. I already did. So this is Vrishabhanu Kund. And the devotees there, I tell you, there's different Braj stories. I'm going to be real honest, which stories are Raj stories and which stories are actually there in the Shastras. Because we know Radharani appeared in Rava, but they'll tell you that Vrishabhanu, there's a Vrishabhanu film, that Vrishabhanu found Radharani floating on a lotus flower here. And this is holy at Varsana. I think I described holy at Varsana. Did I describe it here or did I describe it in...
here,
I described
2
it
days
here.
ago.
How the women beat the men.
Yes.
And how I got beaten up.
Yes.
I couldn't call the police. This is me right here.
Kako su me prebili, nisam mogao da zovem policiju, evo mene, ja sam taj. Znači to vam je holi u Varšavi kada vas dame tamo istuku. Može neko da ugazi telefon?
Okay, we got a free mobile home donation. That's good. Mobile phone. So, all right, so Pilupur is right at the bottom of the hill. It's called yellow pill, which that's what pilu means.
To znači pilu, žuto.
So, what upon a time Yashoda Devi wanted to marry Srimati Radharani with Krishna.
Srimati Radharani za Krishnu.
So when Radha came to Nandagrama, she did something that's a tradition. She put turmeric paste on Radharani's hands. Radharani was so embarrassed. You imagine coming home, your hands are all filled with turmeric. And that means you're married or your marriage is arranged. So she washed her hands in this kundi. And this kundi is still yellow to this day. You can't see it right now in the picture, but the kundi is definitely yellow. Prema Sarovara is another very famous place in Radha Krishna's past. So Radha and Krishna were sitting there. And what happened is that a bee was disturbing Srimati Radharani. She was actually going for Srimati Radharani's ear. So Madhu Mango, Krishna's funny Brahman, he drove the bee away. But what's the name in Sanskrit of a bee? Madhu. And what is Krishna's name? Madhusudana. Madhusudana. Sometimes Madhu for short. So what happened is that Madhu Mangal said to Srimati Radharani, Krishna's gone, not Krishna's gone, but Madhu is gone. So Radharani feeling so much intense pain thinking that Krishna had disappeared. She fainted and began to cry. And these tears that she cried became a lake there. Therefore it's called Prema Sarovara, which is the lake formed by the prema, the tears of prema of Srimati Radharani. And there's another story that Krishna dug it up with his flute. However, I like the story of Radharani's tears more. And there's the deities. Radha, Prema, Pahari. Beautiful deities. It's very difficult to get pictures of these deities, but somehow or other we have different tricks. As I mentioned in one of the classes, to get pictures of these deities. There's also an imprint there of Srimati Radharani's shawl. Jai Baladev ki Jai. Jai Baladev. Jai Jagannath. Where's Subhadra? Oh, she takes longer because she's late. It was his job. Yeah. At least he has a sense of humor. Following in his guru's footsteps. Jai Subhadra! Devi ki jai! Very nice. So there you find an imprint of Radharani's shawl that fell from her shoulders when she was experiencing the intense mood of impending separation from Krishna.
Odnosno Radharani doživjela intenzivno raspoloženje odvojenosti od Krišne koja dolazi, približava se trenutak kad će biti odvojeni.
So even when Radha and Krishna meet,
kad se Radha i Krišna sastanu,
there's an intense pain of impending separation.
Zbog rastanka koji dolazi.
So before they meet, there's the intense pain of separation. And when they're meeting, there's the intense pain of impending separation. So there's always pain. So if you go back to the spiritual world, you'll be experiencing pain. So that, of course, that pain is ecstasy. In the material world, the pleasure is pain, and pain is pain. In the spiritual world, pain is pleasure, and pleasure is pleasure, and everything is ecstasy. But it's hard to understand. Sometimes people are thinking the spiritual world is a utopia, where everybody is just smiling and joining hands and chanting that song Kumbaya. For me, yeah, I taught Kumbaya. Or it's like attending one of my empathic communication seminars. Where everybody just but in the spiritual world, there's spiritual envy, there's spiritual politics, there's spiritual pain, and it's all ecstasy. Of course, you won't understand that until you go there. So here we see Radharani's shawl.
Šmati Radharani. Krishna sa svojim kravicama i
plaštom.
Slika istog mjesta.
Radha and Krishna enjoying their pastimes.
Radha i Krishna uživaju svojim zabavama.
Okay, next one. We're going quickly. Okay. Sanket Devi, because that's Yoga Maya.
Sanket Devi je naravno Yoga Maya.
And Radha and Krishna enjoyed their midnight pastimes there, their sleeping pastimes. And Gopavata Goswami did his bhajan. Here's Sanket Bihari.
Evo Sanket Bihari.
Gopavata Goswami's bhajan kuti there.
Gopavata Goswami.
Sanket Bihari ki jai.
Jai. Prekrasno božanstvo.
And then we come to Asheshavana.
I onda dolazimo do Asheshavane.
Of course, this is the deity of Lord Shiva, Asheshavana, Lord Shiva. And what happened in this place is that Lord Shiva wanted to see little Krishna. So he came to the house of Nanda and Yashoda and asked to see Krishna. And what Yashoda Mai saw was someone that had stakes on his head, on his neck, and bones, and he looked, because Lord Shiva associates with actually low-class people. So his hair was all matted, and ashes. And so Yashoda Mai was completely frightened by Lord Shiva. So she slammed the door in his face. And he went away. And Lord Shiva started to meditate at this particular place. At the same time, Krishna, feeling anxiety because his devotee was not allowed to see him, started to cry always incessantly without stopping. And no one could stop him. Yashoda Mai
Yashoda Mai
felt guilty about the
se
whole thing.
osjećala
She
krivom
understood
zbog
that she
cijele
had
stvari.
offended a great yogi.
Shvatila je da je uvrijedila velikog
And she
bhaktu
asked Lord Shiva, the yogi, to come
pitala je
back.
gospodina Šivu da
Krishna
se
stopped
vrati.
smiling,
Krishna
stopped
prestao
crying,
da
and they
plače,
began to smile.
počeo da se smiješi, da se smješka.
And Yashoda asked
I Yashoda je upitala
Lord Shiva, what should I
gospodina
do?
Šivu šta da radi.
And Lord Shiva replied that he just wanted to see
da je samo
Krishna
želio da vidi
and
Krishnu
eat Krishna's remnants.
i da poje ostatke hrane ponuđene Krishnu.
So even today, the pujaris offer the remnants of Krishna to Lord Shiva.
Hrane ponuđene Krishni, to nude gospodinu Šivi.
This is the Sheshavan
Ovo
lake,
je jezero Šešavan,
that's connected to this.
jezero koje je povezano sa tim.
Who's that? It's you, right? It's you when you were younger. So, now we're approaching Nandagrama.
Sad dolazimo do Nandagrama.
Krishna lived here from 7 to 10 years of
Krishna je tu
age.
živio od 7. do 10. godine.
And Lord Shiva
I
performed
gospodin Šiva je radio
austerities.
strogosti.
And he asked to have the dust
I
of the
tražio
Gopi's
da
feet on
dobije
his head.
prašinu
So therefore
od
he
svojih stopova
appeared
Gope na svojoj
as
glavi,
Nandishvara
što se
hill.
radi kao brdo Nandišvara.
So here you see the
Ovdje
surroundings of
vidite okolinu
Nandagrama.
Nandagrama.
There's Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan
Vraja
Kutir,
Kutir Sanatan Goswamija,
Nandishvara Hill,
brdo Nandišvara,
Krishna Kund,
Krishna Kund,
Surya Kund,
Surya Kund,
Yashoda Kund,
Yashoda
and Ter
Kunda,
Kadamba, which is
Ter
Rupa
Kadamba,
Goswami's Bhajan Kutir
a
place.
to je Vraja Kutir Rupa Goswami.
So now we're approaching Nandagrama
Sad prilazimo do Nandagrama
and walking up the hill.
i hodamo uz brdo do hrama.
And here we see
I
Mother
ovdje
Yashoda
dolazimo
and Nanda
do majke
Maharaj
Yashode i
and Krishna.
Nanda Maharaja i Krishna i Balama.
So the deities in Nandagrama
Božanstva u Nandagramu.
were discovered by who? Does anyone
Njih je
remember?
otkrio ko? Da li se neko sjeća?
Anybody read the Chaitanya
Koliko
Charitamrita?
pročitao Četnu Čaritamritu?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
He climbed this hill and in a cave
On se
he discovered the deities
uz
of
brda i u većini
Shodamai,
otkrio ta božanstva
Nanda Maharaj,
Shodamai,
and Krishna
Nanda
Maharaj.
Maharaja i Krishna i Balama.
So these are the deities that Chaitanya
Ovo su
Mahaprabhu
božanstva
discovered.
koje Chaitanya Mahaprabhu otkrio.
Of course, this deities of Lord Chaitanya and Lord
Ovo su
Nityananda.
božanstva gospodina Chaitanya i
It's
gospodina
Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir.
Vraja Kutir Sanatan Goswamija u Nandagramu.
After Nandagram we go
Nakon
to
Nandagrama idemo
Pavana Sarovara,
do Pavana Sarovare,
where Yashoda Mai bathed Krishna,
Yashoda Mai kupala
and
Krishnu.
Radharani cooked on the banks,
Radharani je kuhala
of this
na obalama
Pavana Sarovara.
ovog Pavana
And also
Sarovara.
Sanatana Goswami had a Bhajan
Sanatan
Kutir.
Goswami je tu imao Bhaja Kutir.
Next to there is Gupta
Pored
Kund.
njih je Gupta Kunda.
Gupta Kund means
Gupta
hidden
Kunda
Kund.
znači skrivena kunda.
Radharani and Krishna met daily
Radharani i Krishna
here.
su se svakodnevno
This is considered one of the three yoga pits. That means the three ancient places of Radha and Krishna meeting.
Jednim od tri glavna mjesta sastanaka Radha
The other
Krishna.
two were Radha Kund
Druga dva su Radha Kund
and where the Govindaji temple
i
is.
tamo gdje se nalazi Govindaji hram. Hram
So
Govindaji.
in the morning, Radha and Krishna would meet
Radha i
at
Krishna
Gupta
se
Kund.
sastali na Gupta Kundu.
In the midday, they would meet at Radha
Podne
Kund.
na Radha Kundu.
And at the night,
I
near the Radha Govinda
u
temple.
blizini hrama Radha Govinda.
Of course, there wasn't a temple there, but they had the
Naravno,
Radha
tamo nije
Govinda
bio
area
hram,
in Vrindavan town.
u okolini grada Vrindavana.
Of course, sometimes they met
Naravno, ponekad
at
se
these places
sastali
at different times of the day
u
too.
različitim
They weren't
danima.
restricted. I mean, Radha
Nisu
Krishna
bili
met at
ograničeni.
Radha Kund
Radha
sometimes
Krishna
in the
se
middle of the
nekad
night.
sastali na Radha
So
Kundu
they
usred noći.
They varied their pastimes.
Tako da su imali raznovrsne zabave.
And next to Gupta Kund is famous Vrinda Kund,
Slavna Vrinda Kunda,
which has been rebuilt and a nice temple established by Dinabandhu Prabhu.
i fini hram je tu uspostavljen i to je sve uredio Dinabandhu Prabhu i drugi vakta.
So this is considered Vrinda's headquarters.
Sjedištem Vrinda Devi.
Vrinda Devi arranges for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
Zabave Radha Krishna.
She controls the
Ona
creepers,
kontrolira puzavice,
the trees,
drveća
and the animals.
i životinje.
It's like this nice story told by Srila
Priča koju je
Goswami.
ispričao Šila Rupa Goswami.
That one
Da
time
jednom
Radharani was able to steal
mogla
Krishna's flute.
ukrasti flautu Krišninu.
But what happened is after she had stolen Krishna's flute,
ukrala Krišninu flautu,
Radharani's so-called mother-in-law, Chatila,
zvana svekava Džatila,
saw that Radharani had it. She grabbed it from Radharani.
flautu i uhvatila je, uzela je od Radharani.
So everyone was in anxiety because Krishna's flute had been stolen by this ugly old lady.
Krišnina flauta i to ukrala ta
They
ružna
wanted to get
starica.
Krishna's flute back.
Željeli su da povrate Krišninu flautu.
So what happened is
Šta
that
se desilo
Vrinda
jeste da Brinda
called for one of her monkey
od svojih majmuna,
servants, an
sluga,
old female monkey
staru
named
majmunicu koja
Kakati.
se zove Kakati.
And she said, Kakati,
Ima rekla Kakati,
go to Jatila's house and tear everything apart.
Džatile i sve potrgaj.
So this old monkey female
Stara majmunica
went to Jatila's house and began to tear everything off the shelves.
sve je potrgala,
Everything was being torn
sa
apart.
polica, sve je raskupusala.
So they said to
I
Jatila,
rekli su Džatili,
your house is being torn apart by a monkey.
majmunica ti rastura kuću.
So she ran to her
A
house
otrčala svoju kuću,
and she began to throw everything she
počela
could
da
find
baca
at
sve
the
što bi mogla
monkey.
prenaći na majmunicu da bi
And
odjela.
finally, the only thing she could find was
Jednu
the
stvar
flute in
koju
her
mogla
hand.
naći jeste
So she
flauta
threw
u
the
ruci.
flute at the
Ona je
monkey.
bacila flautu na majmunicu,
And Kakati caught the
Kakati je
flute,
uhvatila
showed her
flautu,
teeth,
iskezila
and she
zube,
yelled like monkeys do,
znate kako se iskeze
and ran
majmune.
away with the
Iskezila
flute
se na
and
Džatilu
the
i pobjegla sa flautom i vratila flautu.
So that's one example
To je
of
jedan
how
primjer kako
Vrinda Devi
Vrinda Devi
controls all the aspects
sve
of the
aspekte
Vrindavan forest.
šume Vrindavana.
Now, of course, Vrinda Devi is also known
Naravno,
as
Vrinda Devi je
Tulsi,
isto poznata kao
who we
Tulsi,
worship every
koju
day.
obožavamo svaki dan.
So this is Vrinda Kund, and
Ovo je
this is
Vrinda
Vrinda
Kund,
Devi at
ovo je
Vrinda
Vrinda
Kund.
Devi na Vrinda Kundu.
And then we go to, we go to Lalita Kund.
Zatim smo išli na Lalita Kund,
But
dolazimo
there's one more thing about Vrinda
Da je još
Devi.
jedna stvar u vezi Vrinda Devi.
Purnamasi is the guru of
Masi
Vrinda
je
Devi.
guru Vrinda Devi.
So she gives Vrinda Devi instructions.
Ona daje uputstva Vrinda Devi.
So then you go to Lalita Kund.
Dolazimo do Lalita Kunda.
And this Lalita Kund is not the same Lalita Kund as the Radha Kund area.
Kao
It's a
ona je
different
u
Lalita Kund.
području Rada Kunda, ovo je drugačiji Lalita Kund.
So this is an interesting story that happened right here.
Interesantna priča koja se desila upravo ovdje.
Because Lalita arranges secret meetings
Lalita
between Radha
uređuje
and Krishna.
sastanke između Rada i Krišne.
Once upon a time,
Jednog dana
Krishna warned Srimati
Krišna
Radharani
upozorio Šrimati Radharani
that she should stay away
se
from
drži
Narada Muni.
odavde od Narada Muni.
Because Narada Muni has this
Narada
habit
Muni ima tu naviku
of always causing
da
trouble.
uvijek izaziva nevolju.
It's like you.
Jeste li ti?
So, I mean, for example, Narada Muni sometimes makes the demons
Kada učini da demoni
more angry.
su još ljući. Razlog
We have the
demoni.
story
Imamo tu priču
that when Kamsa
Kamsa
was very worried about being killed by
jako
the eighth
zabrinuta
child
ubije osmo
of
dijete
Vasudeva,
Vasudev i Devaki.
he was given the first child,
Dali smo prvo dijete od Vasudeva.
and he thought, I don't have to kill this child
Ne moram ubiti ovo dijete.
because I'm supposed to be killed by the eighth child.
Mene treba da ubije osmo dijete.
So this is only the first child. You
Ovo
can take
samo
this
prvo
baby
dijete.
back.
Možeš uzeti ovo bebu.
But then Narada Muni
Ali
came
da
on the
Narada
scene,
Muni se pojavio na sceni
and he said
i
to Kamsa,
rekao Kamsi,
he said, you cannot trust
ne možeš vjerovati
these people, the demigods who predicted that the eighth child
bogovima koji su
would kill him,
predvidjeli da ćete ubiti osmo.
because you don't know
Zato što ti ne
how
znaš
they're counting.
kako oni broje.
They may be counting
Možda
down,
broje unatrag.
like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
You are thinking they're counting up, but they're counting down.
Broje unaprijed, ali oni broje unatrag.
They're so tricky, so you should kill
Oni
this
su tako
one.
prevrtljeni, trebaš ubiti ovo dijete.
So it's because of Narada
Zbog Narada
Muni's
Munija
putting his nose
i
in,
njegovog zabadanja nosa.
that the children, other
Druga djeca
than the intended eighth child, was killed by Kamsa.
su ubijena od Kamse.
So why did Narada do that?
Zašto je Narada to učinio?
I don't know.
Niko ne zna.
What? He wanted to see Krishna appear, but also, this is interesting, Vishwanath Chakravarti says,
Detalj Višnavat Chakravarti kako kaže
he was worried that Krishna would get a little compassionate with Kamsa.
Krishna pojaviti samilostan pred Kamsom.
Because if Kamsa let
Zato
the
što
children live,
ako Krishna
then
Kamsa
Krishna
dozvoli
being,
da
hey
djeca
Krishna
žive,
Karnam Sindhu,
onda pošto je Krishna, hej Krishna
Remember,
Karnam Sindhu, Dina Vantu Jagatpate,
that he was thinking Krishna would
onda
be
je
so
mislio Krishna će biti
compassionate that
tako
he would forget about killing
samilostan da će
Kamsa.
zaboraviti da ubije Kamsa.
So we wanted to make sure that Krishna
Želimo
got
da
the
se pobrine
message.
da je Krishna shvatio
Kamsa
poruku
was
da je
demon.
Kamsa demon.
Yeah, he had to be good, but he wanted Kamsa killed.
Ali
But
je
Krishna
želio
would have been too
Kamsa bude
lenient with him.
ali Krishna bi bio previše popustljiv s njim.
What? Yeah, Kalanemi. But still, he was afraid Krishna would feel too much sorrow.
Bojao se da će Krishna biti previše mekan.
Just like you see when Krishna kills the demons,
Krishna ubija
he
demone,
waits a while
malo
just to
sačeka,
make sure they're demons.
samo da se pobrine da vidi
I mean, how long did he wait for Prahlad Maharaj to be tortured so many times
Prahlad Maharaja je bio mučen toliko puno puta prije nego što je ubio Hiranyakashipu.
Krishna's like that.
Krishna je tako.
So anyway, so what happens is Krishna told Radharani, don't talk to Narada Muni.
Nemoj pričati sa Narada
He's a
Muni.
troublemaker.
On je čovjek koji pravi probleme.
What?
To nije isto. Spletkaraš i onaj koji pravi probleme nije isto.
Yeah, Krishna said to Radharani, don't talk to Narada Muni. He causes
Krishna
trouble.
rekao Radharani, nema pričati s njim,
But
on
Radharani
pravi nevolje.
didn't listen to him.
Ali Radharani nije toliko slušala njega.
So one day Narada Muni began to sing very, very sweetly
Narada Muni
for
počeo
Krishna.
da pjeva jako i slatko za Krishnu.
And Krishna said, whatever you want,
Šta god želiš,
you can have. Just
možeš
ask for
imati, samo
anything you
traži
want.
bilo šta. Šta god da želiš.
And Narada Muni said, I want to see you and the Lita Devi swinging
Rekao,
together.
želim da vidim tebe i Lalita Devi kako se ljuljate zajedno.
So Krishna got on the swing with
Krishna
Lita
je sjeo
Devi.
na ljuljačku sa Lalita Devi, su uživali u zabavi ljuljana.
So Narada Muni rushes to Radharani's
je
house
otrčao do kuće Radharani.
and he says, guess what?
Zamisli šta?
You know, when you're not around, your so-called friends
Tvoj takozvani prijatelj,
swinging with Krishna.
tvoja takozvana prijateljica se ljulja sa Krishnom.
Radharani got very, very angry. She rushed there and was extremely angry
Otrčala je izuzetno
because she's known for her
zato
mind.
što je poznata po svojoj mani, odnosno ljudnji.
And Krishna just,
I Krishna,
after about an hour or two, he was able to pacify her.
je uspio da je umiri
And he explained and he learned about the nature of Narada Muni.
i
And he said, don't trust him
na
anymore.
prirodu
And she learned her lesson.
i on je rekao, nemoj mu više vjerovati i ona je naučila svoju lekciju.
Terrakanapa is a very beautiful, quiet place.
Je veoma prekrasno
But Rupa Goswami did bhajan
Rupa Goswami
for many
radio
years.
bhajan puno godina.
Krishna would graze his cows there,
Krishna bi tu vodio
and Radharani
krave na
would always
ispušu i
walk by
Radharani
here
bi
on her
uvijek
way
živjela
from Yava to
na putu
Nandagrama.
od Javata do Nandagrama.
Those beautiful deities with the
Prekrasno božanstvo
of Krishna and Balaram, they bring out aside in the courtyard there.
koje iznose u dvorište.
This is Rupa Goswami's bhajan.
Ovo je Rupa Goswami na Terkadambi
And this is the outside courtyard.
i ovo je vanjsko dvorište.
And there's a very beautiful kund that was formed from the excess buttermilk
Koja je stvorena od
that Yashodamai churned
viška
when she was churning butter. She threw into this kund.
mlačenice koje ona pravila, koje je učkala. Mlačenice. Mlijeko iz
Different views of Terrakanapa.
To su sada različiti prikazi Terkadambe.
This is one of the most peaceful places you can
Jedno od
find in
najmirnijih
Vraja.
mjesta koje možete pronaći u Vraći.
He's having kirtan, bhajan,
Bhakti.
at Terrakanapa.
Vode kirtan, bhajan na Terkadambi.
There's a nice throne, very picture of Radha Krishna.
Gdje se nalazi slika Radha Krishna. Proste Krishna Balaram.
Next we go to Kandiravan,
Zatim dolazimo do
Kandiravan. And this is where Krishna killed the
Tu je Krishna ubio
Bakasura demon.
Bakasuru.
So who's the Bakasura?
Bird demon.
Bird? Ordinary bird?
Obična ptica.
Crane.
Čaplja.
He had big beaks.
Veliki.
How did Krishna kill him?
Kako da je Krishna ubio? Broke his
He bifurcated his mouth.
Raspolovio je njegov kljun.
Because first this Bakasura ate Krishna.
Prvo je Bakasura
And
pojela
then he
Krishna.
made himself hot and
Onda
Krishna
je
spit
Krishna sebe
Krishna out.
užario, da bi ga Bakasura ispljunuo. I onda mu je Krishna raspolovio kljun. širio na pola.
You going? So that's Yerevan. And also there's the Bhajan Kutir Lokanath Goswami and Bhugarva Goswami. And then we go after that to Yavat. Yavat is the village of Radharani's in-laws. And I'm going to show you the most beautiful deities you've ever seen in your life. This is the top of Radharani's house in Yavat. Here's the beautiful deities. Jatila, Kutila and Abhimanyu. Aren't they? Just seeing them, you just want to faint in ecstasy. Even Krishna would make fun of the bodily features of Jatila and Kutila. I'm not going to say what he said because I can't say that in public. But he would make fun of their features and parts of their bodies. Here's Jatila, so beautiful. With a mother-in-law like that, you should be really happy. Anyway. And Abhimanyu was an expansion of Krishna. But incidentally, he never got a chance to come close to Radharani. He was married to her so long for so many years, but never approached her. There's this interesting story told by Vishwanath Chakravarti that one time Yashoda Mai wanted to give Abhimanyu some jewels for Srimati Radharani. So she was packing these jewels in a box, and Krishna asked her, "What are you doing? What's this box? What are the jewels for?" And Yashoda Mai said, "These jewels are for Srimati Radharani," and Abhimanyu was coming to pick up the box. So Krishna waited until Yashoda Mai went to the next room. He took all the jewels out of the box, and he jumped into the box and closed the lid. So then Yashoda Mai said to Abhimanyu when Abhimanyu came, "Please take this box to your good wife and decorate her with what's in the box." So on his head he carried this box with Krishna in it to his wife. And he presented it to Srimati Radharani and said, "It is my order you should decorate yourself with what's in this box." So he left the box in her room, and she was in her room with Lalita, Vishaka, and other associated devotees. And they were very curious to see what was in the box. And they opened it up, and just like you had this jack in the box, you know, jack in the box, so Krishna popped out, and everyone began to laugh. And the other gopis said, "You have to follow your husband's order, decorate yourself with what was in the box." And that was Krishna. So Krishna was continually playing tricks on Jatila, Kutila, and Abhimanyu. One time he dressed up just like Abhimanyu. And he said to his mother and sister, "Krishna is coming here to harass us. So just stand guard and make sure Krishna doesn't enter the house." So Krishna entered the house and had some pastimes with Srimati Radharani. And Jatila, the sister of Abhimanyu, positioned herself on the roof of the house just to watch out for Krishna. And so when the real Abhimanyu came, she thought it was Krishna.
Ona je mislila da je to Krishna.
And she started throwing dirt and stones at him and said, "Get away, you rascal, we know who you are."
Bježi nitkove, mi znamo ko si ti.
And so the real Abhimanyu was prohibited from entering his own house while Krishna was having pastimes with his wife. So many times, Krishna also dressed up as a woman. There's another story told by Vishwanath Chakravarti, where Krishna dressed up as a doctor to cure a snake bite that Radharani supposedly had, and entered into the house and had pastimes. And other times, Subala, who looked just like Radharani with a male form, switched places with Radharani. So he would enter into the house and put on Radharani's clothes, and Radharani would put on his clothes, and she would leave the house to be with Krishna. Of course, she was able to cover her breast by carrying a calf, so it looked, they didn't see that she was a lady. So she carried a little baby calf, and they go to Subal carrying a calf that he was looking for. And then she was able to meet with Shri Krishna. At the same time, Pichel and Pichel thought their daughter-in-law was at home with her husband. So many stories took place there in Yavat.
Priča koje su se desile u Javatu.
And there is one of Vrinda Devi's parents.
Jedan od Vrinda Devinih papagaja.
Vrinda Devi has 100,000 parrot disciples.
100,000 učenika papagaja.
And the head parrot, I think, was named Daksha.
Mislim da je glavni papagaj među njima po imenu Daksha.
Someone who's expert.
Stručnjak.
So all these parrots circumambulate all over Braj, reporting on what's happening in Braj.
Podnose izvještaj šta se dešava u Braju. I onda
they return to tell
vrate se gospodarici da joj to kažu.
So many times we've experienced the parrots keep following us.
Znači, mnogo puta smo doživjeli da nas papagaji prate bilo gdje vidimo.
Okay, that's Yava. Kokilavan is the next village.
Kokilavan je sljedeće selo.
And Krishna was prevented from meeting with the
Krishna je dobio zabranu da se susretne sa gopijama.
So kokila means a cuckoo.
Znači kukavica, bird.
It's not a crazy person.
It's a quack bird.
So yeah, it's a bird. It's not, sometimes if someone's real crazy, we
znate, kad su neki ljudi ludi, onda na engleskom kažu da su malo čaknuti. Jer tako se ptice glasa. Yes.
And so Krishna was making those noises to call out to the gopis. And the gopis returned his call and met him at this place called Kokilavan. And these are the deities at Kokilavan. And right near there is another place called Pahari, which is the footprints of Krishna. And Krishna used to feed the cows and the calves there. And Krishna's flute music caused the rocks to melt. And Pahari means hill. So I think that's all we have time for today, right?
Mislim da je to svo vrijeme koje imamo za danas, je li tako?
7 more minutes for this.
Imamo još 7 minuta.
What's this? Another slideshow. What? No, we have 7 more minutes here.
Imamo još 7 minuta.
Okay. Hey, our slide man went away. Hey.
Vrati se za slajdove.
The next place we're going to is... You did the wrong one.
Right.
You're supposed to, next one is... Oh, say Shaya, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did the right one. Yeah. You did the right one. This is another 5,000-year-old deity. So what happened at this place is that Krishna told the gopis that he is God. And they got really angry with him. They said, "You're not God." He said, "I'm God, and I wrestled the Sheshanag at the time of the creation." And they said, "You're just crazy." So Krishna called
Krishna je pozvao.
Of course, this is Chira Sagara means the milk
Chira
ocean.
Sagara znači
Krishna called for Sheshanaga, was actually Balaram, and the gopis were able to see who he was. So this is the deity, Sheshayi deity.
Božanstvo
And then you see all the demigods offering prayers
polubogove kako odaju poštovanje.
to Sheshayi Vishnu. So he manifested himself floating on that lake we showed you in the previous slide, the Chira Sagara. He floated there on the bank of Sheshanag, showing the gopis that he was actually the personality of Godhead. There's an interesting story regarding this temple when Prabhupada was on Parikrama with his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. There was an announcement that night the devotees would go to see this temple. But there was also an announcement that anyone who stayed back could take darshan of Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. So guess what Prabhupada decided to do? He decided to take darshan of his guru. And Prabhupada understood that more important than seeing all these holy places is Guru Mukha Bhakya. The words emanating from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master. And Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur praised Prabhupada with the best praise that a guru could give a disciple. And the praise was, he likes to hear. That's most important. Hearing is most important, because hearing is the beginning of understanding. And the proof of that is that Srila Prabhupada took the instruction of his guru to go to the west as his very life and soul. Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur gave that instruction practically to all of his disciples who spoke English. Prabhupada is the one who heard it. There's two things. You can hear something or you can listen. Listening means in one ear, what? Out the other. Nothing in between. But hearing means to take the words as your very life and soul. So Prabhupada did that, and this particular story occurred right at this, or near the Sheshayi Vishnu temple. And it's described also another thing that happened in the story, that the gopis and gopas who were with Krishna expanded themselves as the 33 million demigods when Krishna manifested this form of Sheshayi Vishnu. This is one of the original deities installed by Vraja Mandal, Krishna's great grandson. And the last place we go to today is called Kelavana, where there's a beautiful deity of Dauji and Revati, Balaram and his wife. But I said, why is Balaram sometimes shown as black? He meditates on Krishna. That's why. The famous Ramagat. And this is where Balaram danced with his own gopis when he came back from Dwarka and stayed 2 months in Vrindavan. And the famous pastime of drinking Varuni beverage occurred. In the spiritual world, there is intoxication. There's stories about Krishna and the gopis drinking honey wine. There's Balaram taking the Varuni beverage and dragging the Jamuna closer. Prabhupada even says that when a high-class person gets drunk, what does he do? sleeps. When a low class person gets drunk,
niskoglasna osoba šta se napije šta
keeps
radi,
talking, fighting,
može
creating
se
problems.
svađati i
So if
tući.
you're going to drink liquor, be a high class person.
Ako ćete vi napijati, ako ćete se opijati, onda budite visokoklasni pijanici.
Of course, in this world, if you drink liquor, you're low class.
Naravno, u ovom svijetu, ako pijete alkohol, onda ste niskoklasna osoba.
Everything that we find in this world
Sve
is
što
there in the
pronalazimo u
spiritual
ovom
world.
svijetu, nalazi se također i u duhovnom svijetu.
So if you
Stoga,
addicted to
ako ste
intoxication,
ovisni o
you
intoksikaciji,
read about Krishna's intoxication,
čitajte o
you lose
Krišinoj
your desire.
intoksikaciji i onda ćete izgubiti svoju želju.
If you're addicted to
Ako ste
illicit
ovisni
sex
o
life,
nezakonitom seksualnom životu,
you read about Krishna's
čitajte
romantic
o
affairs,
Krišnim
and you
romantičnim
lose your
aferama i onda ćete izgubiti
desire.
svoju želju za te stvari u ovome
So
svijetu.
there's everything there.
Tako da je sve tu.
If you're addicted to
Ako ste
gambling,
ovisni o kockanju,
you read about Krishna's gambling and chess games with Radharani.
o Krišnom kockanju i igrama šaka sa Radharani, izgubit ćete tu želju.
And if you're addicted to meat eating, just eat prasad.
Ovisni o jedinom mjestu, samo jedite prasada.
So this is Ramagat,
Ovo je Ramagat,
and this is another Gauji deity.
još jedno božanstvo Gauđija u Ramgatu. U Ramgatu.
And then we come to Viharavan.
Zatim dolazimo do Viharavan kunda.
Viharavan means like
Viharavan
a tortoise.
znači kornjača.
Because the coward boys, when they went swimming with
Kada su
Krishna,
išli plivati sa Krišnom,
they played as turtles here.
onda su se tu igrali kao kornjače.
What's that? Maharaj. Vraja Mandal Parikrama ki jai. Bless us with your realization. Okay, we're just finishing.
Oh, finishing?
Yeah, this is just finishing. They're kicking me out. So, yeah.
You have an option to continue because
No, because tomorrow we'll
the
continue.
kids are waiting also.
The kids are waiting. The kids are more important than us.
Djeca čekaju u Brukuli pa
So, this is just
Maharaj mora da
one of the
završi.
slides.
Oh.
So the coward, actually Ramgat, the Haravan is where the coward boys played as
Ja je mjesto gdje su
tortoises.
se dječaci pastiri igrali kao kornjači.
And this is Baharavan,
Evo je Maharavan,
Radha,
Radha,
Kunja Bihar.
Kunja Bihari.
Akshay means banyan tree.
Akšaj
This
znači
banyan tree is 5,000 years old in Krishna,
5000 godina.
and his friends hung
Krišna
their
i
lunch
njegovi
bags
prijatelji su
here
tu objesili svoje torbe sa ručkom.
as they took care of their cows. These are
Kada
the
su se
deities
brinuli
actually you
za
see
svoje
Sitaram
krave,
and
vidite to su božanstva
Lakshman.
Sitaram, Lakšman i Hanuman.
And finally, the final slide today is Chirgat.
Chirgat.
And Krishna stole the gopis' clothes. When did he steal the gopis' clothes? We talked about this yesterday. Does anyone remember? They
When
performed
they worship
what?
Katyayani.
Katyayani Vrat.
Kad su radili Katyayani vrat.
All you girls who want husbands
Sve
should
vi
do this.
djevojke koje želite da se udate,
You perform the
trebate to
Katyayani Vrat.
uraditi. Uradite
But
u
it's
Katyayani vrat.
very difficult. You can only eat
Možete jesti
one time a day,
samo
no
jednom dnevno,
spices,
bez začina,
no salt,
bez soli
and you have to eat like a
i
duck.
morate jesti kao
You know
patkica.
what a duck is?
Znate šta je patka?
Like that. And you have to,
You have to,
you can't use your hands.
when you have to eat like a duck, does that mean in a position like a duck or as small as a duck, small amount? Da je tako u toj poziciji kao patka.
And as soon as you get up, it's like some of the austerities people do during party.
Puno
As
ljudi
soon as you get
radi
up,
u kartiku. Čim ustanete, nema više jedine. Možda jeste samo tako dok kljucate kljunu.
and you have to take a bath
I
in a
morate
cold
se
river every
kupati u
morning.
hladnoj rijeci svakog jutra.
And you can't sleep during Brahma Muhurta.
I ne možete spavati tokom Brahma Muhurte.
And then at the end of the month, you can get the husband of your
I
desires.
onda na kraju mjeseca možete dobiti muža kojeg
So the
želite.
gopis did this,
Gopije su to uradile,
and then
Katyayani vrat.
after they finished it,
Nakon što su
they
završili,
took their final bath in
konačno su se
Yamuna.
okupale u Jamuni zadnji put.
And who but that rascal Krishna
I ko
came and stole their clothes and put
osim
it up
tog
on the tree.
raskala Krišna je ukrao njihovu odjeću i stavio ih na drvo.
And then first they were just bewildered.
Prvo su bile samo
Who's taking their
zbunjene, ko je
clothes?
uzeo njihovu odjeću.
And they looked up in the tree and they saw Krishna with the
Pogledali su
clothes and
gore,
he was laughing at them.
vidjeli Krišnu sa odjećom, on se smijao.
And they said, give us back our clothes.
I rekli su, vrati nam odjeću.
And they said, we're going to tell Nanda Maharaj.
Mi ćemo te reći Nanda Maharaju.
And Krishna said, I'm not scared.
Krishna rekao, ja se njega ne bojim.
Come out and get your clothes.
Izađi i uzmite odjeću.
One by one.
Jedna po jedna.
So first, they tried to come out
Pokušali su da izađu.
and get their clothes, and they cover themselves with their long hair.
Pokrili se sa svojom dugom kosom.
And Krishna said, this is very unchaste.
Ovo je
A
vrlo
woman should always have her hair tied back.
Ima svezanu kostu.
And so
I tako su
they got angrier at Krishna,
još više se naljutili na
and they tried to
Krishna.
cover themselves with their
Pokušali
hands.
su
And
da
Krishna
se
said, no, you
pokriju
created
se
a great
rukama.
offense. You should
Krishna
have your
rekao,
hands
ne,
over your
to
head
je ogromna
and
uvreda,
be
treba
praying Yamuna Devi and the sun
na
god.
glave i moliti se Yamuna Devi i
He forced
Bogu
them to come
sunca.
out.
I prisilio ih je da izađu tako u tom stanju.
And so in the Vedic culture, that
U
means
vedskoj
the
kulturi
lady is
to
married.
znači da je dama udata za tog muškarca.
It's not like nowadays.
Nije to kao sada.
You go to the beach and
Odete na plažu i
people dressed in so many ways.
ljudi su tako svi
So anyway, so
obučeni.
that was actually their marriage
To je zapravo bio njihov brak
between Radha and Krishna, or Krishna and
između Rade i Kurte, odnosno Rade i Krishna, odnosno između Rade, Krishna i Gopija.
And there were, of course, other marriage ceremonies performed like Bandiravan, which we mentioned in previous slides, where Lord Brahma came and performed the marriage ceremony for Radha and Krishna. So, in essence, Radha and Krishna are eternally connected, married. But for the sake of pastimes, they act as if they're not married. And Purnamasi actually stopped them from having a formal marriage that was known by everybody, because that would have interfered with the pastimes. There's a whole story about some astrologer saying that it wouldn't be the right time. But anyway, it would interfere with the pastimes because there is necessity in the mood of separation, there is dramatic things like sneaking around, like you see in the perverted reflection in this world, where you have these soap operas. You know soap operas? That's good, he doesn't know. Where you have one man is, they ask, will Susie meet with John in secret tomorrow? Will John's wife find out? Tune in tomorrow. You ever seen that? Find out what happens. To be continued as the world turns. My mother would watch these soap operas and cry. I found them quite boring.
One very popular Indian soap opera
Yes.
is very popular in Bosnia. People get so much attracted to saris and
Oh, that's good. Attraction is everybody's story. But you see, these films are perverted reflections of Radha and Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world. Especially the Bollywood films, it's obvious that they're perverted reflections. Like in these Bollywood films, when the man and the woman meet, there's always like a dancing circle that goes around it. So that's Radha and Krishna's pastime. Direct, perverted reflection.
Direktna, izopačena refleksija.
But that reflection
Ali ta refleksija, taj
will
odraz,
not purify you,
vas
it will
neće
putrefy
već će
you.
vas zagaditi.
Your consciousness will become
Vaša
colored.
svjesnost će postati prekrivena.
So therefore, satsanga jage Vaishnav achara. The first quality Lord Chaitanya said of a Vaishnava is what?
Prva osobina Vajšnave, Gospod
avoid
Čaitanja je rekao šta?
association of non-knowledge.
Asatsanga jag.
Izbjegava
Renounce.
društvo
Asatsanga. That means
odvojen.
non-eternal or non-devotional association.
Znači društvo koje
Give me
nije
example of
bhakti,
different types of
koje nije
satsanga.
colleagues at work,
Member of football club or
Not,
fan of
no, activities. Let's say activities.
colleagues at work,
Watching football on TV.
gledanje futbola na televiziji.
Going to a restaurant and eating food cooked by non-devotees.
Eurovision
Eurovision contest.
Eurosong, Eurovizija.
Music sung by non-devotees,
Muzika koju
even if it's Hare
pjevaju
Krishna.
čak i ako je Hare Krishna.
Sarva Chishti Yatapaya. Vaishnavam ko hirdam putam karikatam mritam. So all these things are asatsanga.
Sve te stvari su asatsanga.
What does it mean? It makes our subtle body dirty.
Naše suptilno tijelo postane
Like if you want to stay clean, you don't go rolling in the mud.
prljavi, nećete se valjati po blatu.
So you hear, Vrittatar Sarvabhagimana. If you want to get free
Ako želite
of
postati
these material
oslobođeni
miseries,
tih materijalnih patnji,
then you should actually
onda
hear and chant about
trebate
Krishna
slušati
coming
i pjevati o
discipline succession.
Krišni u učeničkom nasljeđu.
Uttama Slogu Gunanavada Kuman Virajeta Gunapashuna. That only those who are actually killers of the soul or killers of animals will not be attracted to these pastimes. Okay. We've overstayed our welcome. So thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll continue, and we may get to Vrindavan tomorrow also. What? Oh, Namayagya, sorry. I apologize. So Friday we'll continue with the seminar, and we're gonna we'll start with Nandagat and Madhuran, Madhiravan, all those places. Then we may get to Vrindavan, and we'll end up with Raval. Okay, all glorious to His mind, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Kini Govardhan ki jai, Vraja Mandal Parikrama ki jai, Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sachinandana Maharaj ki jai, Radhakunja Bihari ki jai, Fruska Gora ki jai, Gaur Premananda.
Radhe Radhe Go.